Hello, everybody. I am Joan Turner, the resident artist at the Dracut Council on Aging. I'm always amazed my hair looks when I see it. Dracut Council on Aging, and we have been doing a number of virtual tutorials, okay? And this time we are going to do what I call springtime mountains, okay? Beautiful. Isn't that beauteous? Okay. And today is a beautiful 60-degree day in April. Okay, so I am Joan of Joan's Art Gallery here in Haverhill, actually Bradford, which is part of Haverhill. Okay, so today is the right day to do this. I'm just right in the right mood. So you should have a picture of this if you are the recipient of a Dracut Council on Aging art pack. Okay, it's an art supply package, and it has canvases in it and brushes and paints and other kinds of cool things. Some of them have sparkles in them. You can never have enough sparkles, certainly. So today I am going to tell you that I'm going to use a smaller canvas for this. Now, this canvas, as you can see, it's already painted on, but I painted on this some time ago and not really sure what I had in mind for it. So I'm actually just going to repurpose it. Okay, and I just wanted to kind of let everyone know that that's an absolutely okay thing to do. So I'm actually just going to paint it white, okay? If you have gesso, which is a paint primer, you can put that on there. But your canvases, the canvases that you received, or even if you're you have your own art supplies and you're not using DCOA packs, the canvases come already primed, right? So the student grade ones probably could use another layer of primer, but it's totally not necessary. Okay, if you're a professional artist, you would buy probably not student grade canvases, but even if you did, you could just put an extra layer of gesso on them. Okay, so again, gesso is just a paint primer that you would paint on the canvas. But I am just going to paint this one white and let it dry. So for this tutorial, you will need this handout, okay? Because we just want to use it as a guide. It does not have to look exactly like this. And yours does not have to look exactly like mine. Actually, it's better if it doesn't look exactly like this because I was inspired by something I saw online. So even though it's probably not a big deal for you to do it and hang it up in your house or even give it to someone as a gift, you don't want to mass produce them and try to make money off of them. The person whose artwork this really is, well, I think it is artwork. It doesn't look like a photo. Okay, so you don't want to steal someone else's artwork. You will be inspired by it, certainly, but not necessarily steal it, unless it's mine. You have permission to steal mine. Okay, so we need a canvas. Now, art packs, DCOA art packs, you have large canvases, small canvases. This one is done on one of the smaller canvases. The one I'm using is actually an 11 by 14. I think the ones in the art packs are 8 by 10s, which it will come out really, really cute. I just want to go teensy bit larger so that everyone can kind of see what I'm doing here. Okay. So, but the truth of the matter is that you can, if you're not using an art pack and you only have 16 by 20s, paint on a 16 by 20. If you only have a 5 by 7, paint on a 5 by 7. If you have a piece of wood, paint on a piece of wood. Okay. So those of you who have the art packs, we are using the smaller canvas. We actually did another of this set, okay, with each set that they sent out. There's a number of things that we do. So far in this particular series, okay, we did a Hawaiian landscape on a biggie, all right, and then we did one called cow on a big 16 by 20 or 14 by 18, whatever we have. But these two have already been done, and if you if you'd like to do them and you missed the DATV showing of them, you can certainly ask me for the links. I will definitely send them to you, or you can get right on DATV. And I think they are actually archived there, so you can pull up any ones that you want. We are sharing them with BATV. So we have DATV, which is Dracut TV, BATV, which is Billerica TV, and they're archived there as well. And also on GHAA website, okay, ghaa.art. They're actually on there as well. So we are really, really, really fortunate because Dracut has given us permission to share them with other people who may be kind of stuck at home and, with the pandemic and so on and so forth. So you will need a canvas, okay? You will need a palette. And most of the times I just use paper plates. If you have paper plates that are plastic coated, even better, okay? But this one, to kind of dot in some of the colors that you see down here, I actually went and grabbed some Q-tips, okay? Little cotton swabs, right? They don't have to be Q-tips. They can be any brand of cotton swabs that you like, right? So I have a bunch of these. So I'm thinking, let's try it, right? So I have some cotton swabs for colors. You will need, especially, art packs, the red, blue, and yellow, okay? And these are acrylic paints, okay? Red, blue, and yellow are primary colors, which means that they can't be made. You have to buy them, purchase them this way, right? And I believe you have some secondary colors like green, right? We're also going to use white. I'm pretty sure you have white and black, okay? So you have at least those colors. We're going to put some lilac in this picture. So if you do not have purple, you can mix blue and red together and make purple. And if you want lilac, you can add some white to that and you'll end up with this very nice shade of lilac, okay? So you will need brushes. You will need, I use a kind of a big square. In the art packs, we usually have like a large, medium, small. So to get good coverage on the back, yeah, I use the large flat one. Medium, for the medium kind of stuff, and a smaller for maybe. Okay, so typically I have kind of a bunch of brushes in front of me, so I don't always take out the time to clean them. I just go from one to the other, just for the sake of the tutorial and not spending extra time. Okay, you will also need water. All right, and I have water bowls, which your water that you clean your brushes in should be different than where your hot cocoa is. All right, so if you decide that you're going to put water in one of these cups, I have been known to drink my paint water. So now I make sure that I put them in different containers. Okay, so we have picture, we have this paper towels. Have some paper towels nearby. You will definitely want paper towels. Paint clothes. All right, paint clothes. If you look at my paint clothes, and I have several outfits, paint clothes outfits. Acrylic paint, if you get it on you, if it's still kind of wet, you can kind of run into the bathroom and use some soap and water and get it off. Once it dries, it's permanent. The shirt I have on has been bleached a number of times, and as you can see, it is still very full of paint. Okay, where I am painting on in my art room, so the table that I'm painting on has a lot of paint on it already. Okay, I paint on it, students paint on it. So, the only way to clean something like this is just to kind of sand it and redo it. but I don't do that. But the point that I'm trying to make here, that if you're painting on something where you mind getting paint on, such as your kitchen table, something like that, cover it with plastic. Go to the dollar store, buy a plastic tablecloth. Okay, cover your floor, right? As you're painting along and you're just kind of slapping the paint on there, sometimes they get little splatters on the floor. And that being the case, you want to make sure that, you know, if that happens, you know, you're not ruining your floors or your carpets or anything like that. So take care, young men and young women. And speaking of young men and young women, keep sending me pictures, call me, let me know what's going on. 978-807-7608 is my cell phone number. Take some pictures of your pictures and attach them to there, show them to me. Okay, I'm really excited to see them and all the different renditions and all the cool things that you guys are doing. And also available for questions. Text the questions. Leave a message if I don't answer, which unfortunately is probably typical. And if I don't answer and you need a call back, just say, you know, tomorrow at 3 is a good time to call me back. I'll be available. Okay, so all of that good stuff. All right, so again, I'm going to kind of repurpose this. So, and again, the only reason for kind of showing you this is because I don't want you to waste your canvases. If you do a picture that you don't like, or you started it and you never finished it, that you can simply just repurpose it, okay? And the way that, like I said, the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a palette, right? And I'm going to put, move all my mini paint out of here. Let's see if we can give you a little bit more of what I'm doing here. Moving all the paint I was just showing you. So I'm going to take my white paint. Right? Again, this is simply repurposing your old canvases. Okay, so I'm going to put some white paint on there. I'm going to take my large brush, taking my large brush, and I'm just painting over. I'm just painting over canvas that I already painted on. Okay, and again, this is just a way to not waste your canvases. Go ahead and repurpose your canvases. All right. So, you know, you don't, you can use a new canvas, obviously, but again, if you have a canvas that you don't want, you're not using, you're never going to finish the picture, go ahead, paint over it, repurpose those canvases. Okay, my dears? So after you finish painting this white, obviously you want to let it dry. Okay, I'm gonna put it on my easel. And if you have an easel, that's fine. If you don't have an easel, that's okay too. I use an easel when I paint, um, especially when I'm doing a video so that you guys can kind of see it standing up. If in fact you don't have an easel and you want to uh, work on an angle like that, put a stack of books under here and just kind of lean it up against it. Okay, so I have done that a number of times as well. Okay, and before I go on, I'm going to say add some brown to your collection of paint that we're going to use. And of course, hot cocoa. You cannot paint without hot cocoa or peach tea. You got to have one or the other, right? Okay, picture. We're ready to rock and roll. We're ready to party here. Okay. So the very first thing, when you're doing any kind of a picture like this, it depends on the medium where you start. All right, acrylics and oil painting, you always want to start from the back forward. If you're doing watercolors, then you're not going to do that. But with oil paints and acrylics, and we are using acrylic, we start from the back first. So the skyline and these clouds, and then we're going to do the mountains, then we're going to do these green mountains, and we're going to do this yellow area, and we're going to do this and flowers. So we're kind of building and moving forward. Okay, kids? All right, we are so ready to rock and roll. Okay, so when you're working, it's a good idea to see see your source material here. So I actually have this kind of set up, okay, so that I can see it. So the very first thing I want to do is start with my sky. All right, so I already have some white on my palette. So now I'm going to take some blue. Okay, so this is just primary blue, but you can actually use any blue that you would like. Okay, and you can see that I've added just a small amount of blue because when you're mixing colors, the stronger color is always mixed in last. So the white here is the lesser of the strengths here. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this blue and add it into my white. All right, so this is the color blue that I have here. And I'm looking at this handout, and this handout is probably bluer. Okay, the sky is probably bluer. Now, does that mean you have to have it that blue? No, you can have it any blue you want. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and make my sky bluer. Right. So I'm going to kind of go with that color blue. I'm liking that. Okay, there we go. That's closer. And I also, there's a lot of low clouds in this picture. So I'm actually going to make sure that I have enough white nearby as well. Okay, so I'm actually going to take this white and add more white to my palette just to have some white available to me so that I don't have to stop what I'm doing, okay, and pour more white. Okay, so if you think about how far down do I need to come with my sky, kind of guess. This is halfway. Half of halfway is kind of a quarter. So you don't have to get out your ruler and measure anything, but I want to say a quarter of the way to probably right about here. Okay, so I'm using my large flat brush. I'm using the blue that I mixed, and I'm putting in this beauteous blue sky on my repurposed canvas. Okay. When I do these canvases, when I paint on these, I always do the edges as well. Doing the edges gives you the option of framing or not framing, because obviously you can say, gee, I really love this picture. I want to frame it. If you're like me and you have a zillion pictures all over the place and all over the walls and so on and so forth, to frame them all can get pretty expensive. So bringing the subject matter over to the edges like this, all right, means that you don't necessarily have to frame it. You could hang it just the way it is, if you so decide. Okay, so here I have my blue sky. All right, now this blue sky has some clouds in it. Okay, so I'm gonna dip into my white, just the white, and I didn't clean my brush off. I'm gonna leave it blue. I'm gonna leave the blue on there. And I'm just kind of looking here, just to give me an idea of where I want those clouds to go. And again, having it exactly the same as what you're looking at is not necessarily a goal. Okay, but I just want to, it's like, okay, where did they put those clouds in there? Okay, so I'm gonna put in a little bit of cloud here. Okay, and I'm kind of doing this kind of Xing motion here, getting these clouds in. Now my blue is pretty wet, so it's just kind of blending in there a little bit, which is okay with me. Okay, because as that dries a little bit more, I'm going to add just a teensy bit more and become a little closer so you can see a little bit better. There's a lot of cloud cover going on down here. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And again, I'm using this kind of crisscrossy motion down here to lay in the clouds. Okay. right? So I'm fixing my my horizon line. The horizon line is the place where the sky meets the ground. Okay. So here, at this point, I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm not going to put this in the water. I'm just going to clean off any excess paint here because I'm picking up, it's turning, my white is turning blue. So I don't want to water it down at all, but I'm taking the excess blue off of the brush. And this way, see how I'm getting a whiter look here. Okay, so let me see if I can come even closer for you. I really want you guys to see what's going on. All right, so here, some white here, some white going on over here. And I'm not being neat about it. I kind of like this messy cloud color here. Okay, this one's kind of going up here and like these. Okay, and maybe off my sides even. Okay. So we have some nice cloud stuff going on here. Right now, this is probably a little bit drier up here. Let's add some back in. Like I said, my blue is pretty wet, kind of stayed wet. Okay, so let's tap in some over here. Now, for those of you who have these handouts, I'm making these wispy clouds here. Okay. You will see that there's a bit of color going on in here. Okay. Some yellows and some pinks going on. Right, so while this is kind of just drying out a little bit, okay, I am going to go ahead and add a drop of red on my palette. If you have dry paint on that top, pull it off of there, okay? Because if your containers don't close tight, then the paint has a tendency to dry out. I'm just picking up just a little bit here. Right? And then I'm going to try a little bit of yellow. Okay. Oh, good. I was afraid it was running out and I wasn't going to get it. All right. So again, clean off the excess on the brush. No water. Don't water down your paint. At least not at this point. Okay. So if you can see, there's a teensy bit of yellow in there. So I am literally just taking the tip of my brush. See how small that is? Because I really, really do just want a hint of color in there. See? Just a hint of color. Now I'm dipping in the white here. Okay, so I'm really getting a whitish, yellowy color going on here, which is what we're looking for. Okay, so this spring picture is really going to have some nice springy colors in there. You're really going to like this. I like it already. Okay, there's also a teensy bit of red. So same thing. Pick up just a little bit of red on the tip of your brush and just kind of get it in here. Okay. See. Okay, so just teensy bits of color in here. Okay, and obviously with the white, the red is going to turn to pink, which is what we want it to do. I also want to get a little bit of yellow up in here, like this. Okay. All right, and we just want hints of color, hints of color. That's going to keep things really cool and interesting for us. Okay, so I'm just the tip of the brush, in there, and just a hint of color. Hint of color. Okay. All right. Clean excess off the brush. Okay. The only time you really need to wash it is when you're going to a totally different color and you don't want anything of the old color to show through. So I'm actually just dipping in the white here, and I'm actually making these clouds up here a teensy bit whiter. I'm actually wanting this to come off of here. Come on out. Come on out and play, Mr. Cloud. Let's get a little bit of cloudiness going on right here. Let's drag it over here. Okay, so a little bit of messy cloud going on. I'm liking it. Okay, dragging some of my yellow up here. Blend some of this in, blend some of that in. Blend over here, blending over there. Do I look like I'm having too much fun? That would be absolutely right. Okay, we can have, if you're blending a lot of white into the blue, you're going to end up with really fluffy clouds. Okay, you see those little clouds in there? Okay, so I'm liking it. I'm gonna dab into my yellow a little bit more, get that in there, because I want to. The sky, let's bring it down here somewhat. Okay, these are just little wisps in here. Have some little stronger clouds coming down here. Okay, and after, like I said, after this dries out just a teensy bit more, we could even add a little bit more highlight to these clouds. Right now, let's just play around a little bit. Okay, kind of liking that. Remember that yours does not have to look like this. It's actually better if it doesn't. It's actually better if it looks like yours. Okay, so getting a little bit more white in there. All right, so I actually think I'm just going to kind of leave it like that. Like I said, after it dries out a little bit more, we could actually put even whiter highlights in there. But so far, liking what I'm seeing. Okay, let's just fix this little baby here. Let's do this. One of the things that students do that can make things difficult for themselves is that they'll do a background. Like I said, you want to work from the back forward. So they'll put in the background and then they'll start doing the foreground, and then they decide that they want to change something in the background when they already have something in front of it. Okay, so you want to avoid doing that. I mean, once in a while, I guess it kind of happens. I certainly have run into that, but it's extremely difficult to redo this background if you have stuff in front of it. So putting the subject matter in front over here is it's going to make things difficult for you. So other than just adding a little highlight to my clouds, I want to make sure that this sky looks the way I want it to look before I move on. Okay, and that brings me to another tip or piece of advice is, I'm doing this picture all at once because it's a tutorial, so I mean it may take 2 to 3 hours. However, you do not need to finish this all in one sitting. Okay, you can do it in 2 sittings, 3 sittings, 5 sittings. You can do it with your friends. You can Zoom with your friends and do it all together. You can stop the recording. If in fact I'm moving too fast for you, stop it, halt the program and just kind of catch up. If in fact I'm moving too slow for you, don't go ahead and wait, 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 wait. And when we do fun and paint, I find that some people, I'll be working on one thing and they've already done this, guys. So now they start working on something else. And if you go ahead and do that, and then you miss a step, then it's like, oh, well, I didn't do that. Can you come help me fix it? And in most cases, we can make it look relatively good, certainly, but also much, much better if you just kind of wait. Okay. So if in fact I'm going too slow for you, which sometimes, like I said, is the case, wait for me. Don't go ahead. Wait for me. Okay. So as I'm talking to you, this is drying out enough that I can put a little bit of highlights in here. Like having too much fun. I'm just going to stay right here in the clouds. Someone said that to me. You just really like doing those clouds, don't you? And I'm like, yes. Okay. And one of the reasons I think that I like doing them so much, it took me a really long time to get comfortable doing the clouds. So once I kind of got got the procedure down pat here, I'm like, now I just want to keep making clouds, just keep going and going and going. I don't want to stop. I'll just keep going. All right. So like I said, now that this is dry a little bit, we can put in a little bit more highlights in those clouds. So that's what we look like. Okay, let's go to our pink mountains. Don't you love pink mountains? I like pink mountains. All right, if I look really close at these pink mountains, I actually see in there some blues in the background. I see some deeper kind of purples in here. And remember, if you don't have purple, blue and red makes purple, so mix it ahead of time. Okay, so that's what I see going on here. And so I am going to put purple on my palette. If in fact you do not have purple, mix pink and red. Oh, I get some purple on here. Mix red and blue. Sorry, I think I said pink and purple. Duh. Okay, you can tell it's late in the evening, correct? I have a good excuse. This is my third class today, so I'm going to use that as an excuse. Blue and red will make purple. If you add white to it, you'll end up with a lilac. Okay, but now I'm thinking I want to put these mountains in. Now, how do you make pink? Most people know that red and white makes pink. Okay, so I'm going to once again use the white as the less strong color certainly, and I'm going to mix the red in there. Okay, and I didn't clean off my brush because it didn't have a whole bunch of color left on it. But if you still have a lot of paint, blue paint on your brush, go ahead and get it off of there. Now, where are we going to put these babies? All right, we're almost halfway down. All right, so I'm going to put Pink Mountain here, another one here, another one going off my canvas, I think. Okay, and as you can see, I am not sweating the small stuff. Okay, wherever these mountains end up, that's where they belong. Okay, so give yourself an idea of where those mountains want to go. And I put them in. Once you get your land masses in, this one's pretty pointed, but I'm not sure I like it so pointed. So I'm going to just actually move it on down. Okay, so then I'm going to do this. All right, so actually, it's just more important that you get the land mass in there. Right. So this is going to be the shape of my mountains. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of the darker purple in here. And if your purple is not dark enough, add just a dash of black to it, and it will be dark enough. Okay, so I'm going to take just a little bit of black. And when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit. That's my black. All right, because now black is a very strong hue or value or color. Okay, so I'm going to take my purple like this, put it over here, some of it over here, and take a little bit of black and mix it right in there. So I can get a really nice dark purple in here. Okay, so I'm really adding this in. I'm going to put some in at the top a little bit. Okay, I'm going to add some over here. I have some underlying, okay, darker colors here. I'm pulling it here. I like it right here. And there's a piece that comes down this way. So I'm putting my darks in, okay? Putting my dark stuff in there. And I really want to play around with this a little bit. Okay. So get some contrast in there. When you have light up against dark, it's contrast. That's what it's called. So I'm going to take some of this white here, and it actually is going to loosen up some of my purple. So you don't want your mountains to necessarily just be smooth, okay? We want to have different kind of planes and whatnot here. So let's get them in here. Okay, so this guy kind of comes down here. So I really do have very pinky, purpley mountains here. So on the underneath of, we want the highlight on the top. Okay. See where the dark is into here? So we want the dark there, and then we're going to highlight. We're going to highlight on the top. Okay, so pull your mountains. Get those babies moving. Don't forget your edges. Don't forget the edges here. Okay. I'm going to take just a teensy bit of this blue. I'm going to run it right up against this edge of this mountain. Ha! Well, ikazai. Okay. Okay. See what I did? I just ran it right against this edge. I'm going to do the same thing to this guy. Okay. So I'm actually just touching along this edge here, and then just kind of pulling it. Okay. See that? Just kind of pulling it back here a little bit. Okay. You're just having a grand old time here. So purple, teensy bit of black in here. Again, let's get some of that darker under here. Nice contrast. We're looking for contrast. Okay. If I put it on top here, you won't be able to see it later. Oh, wait a minute. There, you can see it. Okay. I can. Right. So again, I'm going to take some of this red, going to add a little bit of purple to it. Run it right around here. Need to tape you up there. Okay. Darker here. Okay, and I'm dipping into my purple here. There we go. Now we're talking. dipping into the blue once again, just on the tip of the brush and coming down here like this. Pull it down. Going to dip into the red a little bit. Okay, and remember, when I dip into the red, I end up with a little bit of purple down here, which is kind of nice. I'm liking it. Sometimes you can get better color, you know, mix them yourself. It's definitely convenient to kind of do things using pre-mixed colors, and everyone does it, absolutely. But sometimes the colors that you mix yourself, you go, oh my God, that's amazing. How did I do that? Okay, so I'm gonna, now I want to put in my highlighted areas. Okay, so I have a highlight kind of here, kind of here. Pull this down this way. I like this dark over here, so I'm gonna kind of leave it there. Okay, a little bit of light, a little bit of dark. We are so cooking. Okay, I'm going to take this bit of purple up here and just put it on the edge of this mountain. And I want to show you what I'm doing. I'm taking the corner of my brush and just putting it in the purple, just the corner of the brush. And then I'm just kind of wiggling it down along this mountainside. Okay, doing the same thing, just a little bit. Okay, let's bring it down the mountainside here. See? See? Okay, let's do it. All right. So in this way, we really can create quite a bit of, plains and valleys and all kinds of cool stuff in here. Now I'm going to dip the tiniest bit, again, the corner of my brush here, because I see some cool yellow stuff going on over here. And it's kind of a reflection from what's going on in the sky. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there because I want to. The best reason for you to do something is because you want to. Let's get some of this yellow going on in here, like so. Gonna pull it down, right? Because I see just a little bit running around. Okay, picking up a little bit more of my whitish, pinkish stuff, color. I'm gonna move it right down here like this. Okay, and then again like this way. And then again like this. Okay, so what I'm seeing is different parts of these mountains, mountain range, going here, there, and everywhere. It's kind of cool. There we go. That's better. I have this little guy sticking up right in my cloud. Come on, get off of there. Ah, see that? You are the creator. All right. I have to say, I'm liking those mountains. Okay, mountains. Could go a teensy bit darker. Maybe right here. Maybe. Ah, there we go. There we have it. All right, a little bit of yellow going on up here. Just a tad. up in this mountain area here. So don't make them even. Pull them out. Pull them out, push them in. We want these mountains to be very springy. We want them to look like spring. Okay, so the colors are very springy. These colors are very hot. We're going to move now to our greenery into here. Okay, I'm going to take my green, ta-da, and a new plate, a new palette, because my old one is pretty full. Now, there's not a lot of paint. I did not put a lot of paint on here. And one of the reasons is that if you need more, unless you're really mixing up a color and you need to mix enough of it, they dry out really fast. So I don't want to try to use the dried out paints. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and put some green on here. I'm going to put quite a bit of the green. And again, if your paint dries on here, pull it off of there. Okay, see that? So it's like a skin almost. Okay, I'm putting quite a bit of green, and I'm also going to put quite a bit of yellow here. Okay, because we have quite a bit of yellow going on. So let's do both. Quite a bit of green, quite a bit of yellow, and I apologize for the gentle noise. And I think I will go and get some more yellow just in case. So more yellow just in case. Okay, again, this is a deep yellow. Any yellow that you have, absolutely fine. Pull the dry paint off. Okay, and typically you will have dry paint on it. See, when you close it now, it's going to squish it and it will dry in the cap. Right? Brush. All right, so I actually don't want any pinks and whites in here. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush. Okay, so again, I have my water dish. I'm going in a circle here and just pulling off the extra paint that's on here. Now, green is a stronger color, certainly, than pink is. So if I don't get absolutely all of the paint out of my brush, probably not too big of an issue, but we want to get most of it. So I'm going to switch it around. I actually have 3 bowls of water here so that I don't spend a great deal of time cleaning the brushes. And I'll tell you that I actually have extra brushes of it too. So if they don't come really clean, I will just switch brushes. Okay. And again, it's just to not take up all your time. Okay. So I thought maybe I would start with the green. I'm going to change my mind and start with the yellow. Right. So the yellow, dip into your yellow. I'm still using the big brush here. Okay. And the only reason I switched right to the yellow is because green is a stronger color than yellow. Right? So my thought was, I would have to either prime over the green with yellow or white first. Okay, so I'm going to actually put the yellow on here. Don't forget to do your edges. Okay. So I'm going to have a mountain area here. Okay, and and another one here. And this, the top of this is going to be green eventually. Okay, but right now I just kind of want to know where everything is going. Okay. And again, you certainly do not need to be perfect here. I'm going to bring this all the way down here, I think, or pretty much most of the way down. Okay, so we're going to have a lot of yellow in this nice springy, summery, springy. Okay, so I'm kind of making a land mass here. So once I get that on there, I'm going to clean excess yellow off of my brush. You can see I didn't put too much effort into that. And now I'm going to look at where this green is. And I'm putting my brush in the green. Okay, so I have quite a bit on there. And I'm going to decide where this mountain is. And it's right about here. Okay, so I'm going to put that in. Okay, and it just kind of goes off over here. Okay, then it comes down here. And I'm actually going to pull it down, pull the mountain down a little bit. Okay, it's covered with greenery, which is kind of nice. This yellow. So we have this yellows kind of pulling through, which is awesome. Okay, so we have, I'm dipping in my green again, and I'm going to kind of dab over here and just kind of pull it down a little bit. All right, so what I'm thinking I'm seeing over there is actually some trees. Okay, pull this down into your yellow. Okay, see how this is all, it's like a mound or a knoll over here. Okay, and then there's one in front of it. So pull this down into the yellow. Yeah, and we'll do this over here. Okay, I'm going to dip into my green. I just have a corner, and I'm actually, there's a little tiny bit of a tree line right here. Now, you may not think that's what it is, and if you don't and you don't like it, don't put it in. Okay, I'm gonna dip into my blue a little bit and dab over that. Okay, so I end up with this little bit of tree line here, which is kind of cool. Okay, so even if that's not what it is, that it is now. Okay, take a look. Where are we? Wait, here we go. A little bit of a tree line right. Okay, so again, just kind of pulling these guys down over here. Pull them down. Okay, and even though I have a little bit of blue on my brush, it's okay, because blue and yellow makes green. You knew that. You knew that already. Okay, so I'm not just pulling it straight down, I'm pulling it on an angle here. Okay, let's pull this side too. All right, so now I actually want this other, like a hill. Okay, so there's this, and then there's this hilly area coming down here. So I have my green on my brush, and I'm going to go right here, and I am just tapping. I'm tapping all the way to the beginning of this mountain. Okay, now once I'm done tapping, I'm going to pull this down a little bit. Okay, I'm going to actually pull some of the green off of here. Right, take some of the green off your brush, and I'm going to pull this down as well. Okay, so now I have this other kind of green area going on here. All right, and this is the one that comes all the way up here. So going into the yellow now, because I want this area to be yellow and I want this behind it to be the green side. Now I'm going to dip into my red, just a corner of my brush. All right, and I'm going to come down here with it because I want to add just a little bit of color here. Okay, I want this to be relatively yellow in here. All right, see all that yellow? And a little bit of red in through there. Pull it on out. There we go. Now I like it. Okay, so definitely want yellow up against here. Up yellow and red in this case. Okay. All right, so this way we can see the hill. We want to be able to see that hill. Okay, so this comes down here like this. This comes over here. Okay, and comes over here like this. Okay. All right, so we're going to put this, make sure you do your edge, drag this over. Nice, nice and yellow through here. Bring this green down this way. Pull it down just a little bit. Don't put a lot of pressure on your brush because we want it to kind of look a little bit like a hill. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna fuzz out a little bit of this red in here. A little bit of green coming down here. And this is a good time if you have some brown to, let's add just a little bit of brown to the green so that we don't get this really sharp green in there. And I put so much out on my plate. I did not mean to do it. Okay. All right, so what I want to do is I want to darken some of these areas. So if you don't have brown, do a little bit of black, but just a little bit here, because we're just looking to darken that area slightly. We want it to be a little bit more in the background. So I'm just putting a little bit of brown. And like I said, if you don't have brown, use black, okay? But just a little. See how nice and rich that looks? Yeah, nice. Looks awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I have this going on. Oops, do not clean off your brush, Joni. So at this point, there's actually quite a bit of paint on my canvas. I'm gonna just make sure that this is really, really, really dry. So I'm pulling off all the excess because I want to very carefully pull this out, just a tad. Yeah. Okay, goody, goody. All right. So I have a teensy bit of red in here, like this. Nice. Okay. Right, and I'm keeping this right with me over here because the color work that's in here is absolutely gorgeous. And even though it does not have to, the picture definitely does not have to be the same, certainly. I absolutely want to get these colors in here. I absolutely love the colors. Just kind of dabbing along the side of this mountain so it's not quite so smooth because it looks a little bit soft, puffy going on here. I kind of like that. So let's do that. Right. Over here, I'm going to pull a little bit more yellow in through here. And my goal with this yellow is to get it kind of up against this green, because again, I'm looking for the contrast here. Okay, there's a lot of yellow going on, like right here. Okay, so let's do it. Like this. And this green, like I said, wants to be a little sharper. And I am going to add a little brown to that. Okay, if you don't have brown, add black. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm tapping the green over here and then tapping the brown into it. Okay, so that I end up with a really dark, earthy green. So I want that right here. Okay, then it just kind of disappears off into the sunset here a little bit. Okay, so I took the excess paint off the brush. Now I'm just gonna pull this down just a little bit. Okay, let's pull it down. Can you see? So this, I'm going to kind of bring it down here a little bit. Pull this down a little bit this way, just because I want to. All right, so now, for the rest of this, okay, we're going to kind of make it kind of all greenish, but then we're going to tap in some of these colors, all right? So I'm going to dip into my yellow, and for kind of for the space that's left here, I'm going to make it all green. Right, coming way up here. Okay, making this all green here. I'm going to make this whole area green. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of brown to this side, because if you look at your handout, it's quite a bit darker. Okay, so let's get this nice earthy color in here. Okay, and I'm trying to hold this closer to the camera so you can see it really well. You can see I'm doing my edging. Okay, and I haven't switched brushes yet. And so far, I'm doing this whole canvas with this big brush. Okay, darker over here with the brown. Gonna dip just the corner into the brown. Okay. Let's get some green on my edge. Okay, green on the bottom here. And I will want some yellow over here. I don't think I got it on there quite right. So this is where the finger painting comes in. Okay, and this part certainly. Okay. So you know, lay it down, even though it's quite wet. Right. And now we know why my clothes look the way that they do. Okay, so I want to tap in over here because I don't want just a line there of color. Okay, I want to see how these are kind of poofy here. Let's poof. Let us poof. Okay, so over here, I'm using mostly just the green. While it's still wet, I'm going to actually add some yellow, red to it. Okay, so let's just kind of dab over here, dab a little bit, because we want it to look nice. We want it to look nice and fluffy. Okay, I'm going to pull some of this paint up like this. Okay, because we want to start creating. I want to start creating some of this look of the flowers here. Right, so I'm going to put my brush in the yellow here, and I'm going to start to kind of dab over here. Okay, now see how that looks like. This is how you're going to make some of the some of the bushes in here. Okay. Just going to kind of dab in here because we actually want lots of color in here. Luckily, the covers won't have that paint that fell over there. Okay, so let us continue to dab here. Right, so I'm going to dab here and over here. Okay, so we're adding quite a bit of lighter and different. So far, we're just using yellow. I'm going to dip into my whitish pinkish colors, and I'm actually going to put some of that in as well. Okay, and we're not quite ready for Q-tips yet. I want to let it dry out just a teensy bit more. Okay, I'm going to on the side, get on the tip of my brush, and actually make some heavier bush through here. Okay, so before I was doing on the tip, I was pushing on the flat side of the brush. Now I'm pushing on, I turn the brush around this way and have begun pushing this way. Then I'm going to go into my yellow because I see quite a bit of yellow over here. I'm just going to kind of dab it in over here. Okay. See more over here. And again, we'll change, we'll add and change and do a number of things over here. So I don't really think there's a wrong way to do this. I have a feeling that regardless of what you do here, you're gonna like it. Okay, so we're starting to get some of this going on here. So I'm actually going to clean off this brush a little bit. By that I mean I'm going into my water and maybe this might be a good time to switch brushes because I'm having a feeling I won't get that green all off of there. What I am going to do is give myself a little bit more white. Okay, and I think I'll put it in a new plate over here. Okay. I'm going to take my plates a little bit and do a teensy bit of drying a little bit here. Okay, because again, I have lots of layers of paint here. Okay, so what I want to see over here is some, I'm going to dip into my white. Okay. And I'm going to put some of the white here, like this. Okay, and I'm actually going to add some color to that as well. But for right now, I'm thinking I want to just kind of get some lighter values in here. Okay, so just white for now, which is a way to kind of prime a little bit, I guess, so that when we start putting color over, and then you could just start going with the reds and the pinks and so on and so forth. However, you'd need an awful lot of layers of those colors. So if we put the white first, we're just kind of priming a little bit. Okay. We have some really cool stuff going on here already. Okay, so some of it I'm dabbing with the flat part of the brush, and some of it I'm doing this way, holding the brush this way, so I get the kind of longer plants in there. Okay, So quite a bit of light in here. Let's get this all light. Okay. This side I want to keep kind of dark. See the dark that's in there? Okay, so I would like to keep a lot of that. Okay, now what I would like to do is take all of the excess paint off of here. So I am going into my water here and cleaning a lot of this off. Going into my yellow. I get a little bit more yellow up here. There we go. Nice. All right. So I'm going to put that brush in the water, and I'm going to take a smaller brush. Okay. And now I want to start to, I'm going to turn the brush around and use the handle. Okay. And I actually am going to just make some, I'm going to make some lines up here, which are going to look like stems. Okay. So we just kind of want some of that good stuff. And these can be bigger stems up here. We can go longer. Yeah. But can you see what's going on here? The paint is wet enough that when I do this, I'm actually dragging the paint off the canvas. Right. So I'm doing that in some places through here. Okay, kind of in groups. So it looks like bushy stuff going on. Okay, I'm going to come up over my green. I'm going to go higher and higher. Okay, kind of lighten. Brush some of this that I maybe went higher than I wanted. There we go. Okay, so now I have some branch work in here. Now I think would be an awesomely good time to try out our Q-tips. So I'm going to try just one for now. Okay, and I'm going to go into the red and actually the white as well. So I'm going to end up with kind of pink. Okay, so I want to try some down here. Oh, lovely. How lovely. Okay, so I dipped the Q-tip first in the red and then in the white, right? And then when you kind of mush it onto your canvas, the red and the white obviously are mixing together. And this is what's giving me my pink. Okay, now these Q-tips are cotton swabs and not going to hold up really well. So, you absolutely can pull the excess off if you want to. However, I would say just turn them around and use the other side. I'm going to do some yellow and red. Okay. And if you don't know, yellow and red makes orange. Okay. So I'm going to put some of those right in through here. Okay. So at this point, you're just making groups, little kind of groups of flowers, and think about reds and pinks and purples. I know I have some. Okay. So the only thing I would say is kind of group them together. Okay, so that you look like you have some purple flowers over here, some pink flowers over there. Okay, I'm gonna put some purple flowers right here. Okay. And because the white paint is still on the wet side here, I'm getting kind of lilac-y flowers, which is a-okay with me. Okay, so work the whole picture, right? Do red and white. And if you kind of look at this handout a little bit, it'll give you some ideas about maybe where you want to put these. Okay. In the end, like I said, there really is not a wrong way to do this. Okay, I'm going to put some red flowers over here. So I'm just dipping in my red. Okay, like it, I like it. All right, so we have some reds going on over here. And then if you space them further apart down here, then they'll look like they're more sparsely spread out. Okay. Really, really, really enjoying this. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow, add that to it. Okay, so you can see how we're really building. All right, so the other thing I want us to try, and I'm doing this picture for the first time the same way you are. I'm going to take some paper towel. If you don't have paper towel, use a napkin. And I'm going to dip the paper towel, okay, in the paint. And let's try dabbing that. And I'm going to try dabbing it right here. Okay, that is really cool over there. Over here. All right, I'm liking that very much. So I'm going to take some, I'm going to put some up here, I think. Okay, and this paper towel is really kind of making these cone-shaped flowers here, which is a-okay with me. I'm going to take just the tip here and make some just little tiny red ones in here. Oops, can you see? I get so involved in what I'm doing. It's like, okay, you're no longer in camera. Okay. Okay. So there's a number of different ways to actually add these flowers. Okay, and I like crumbling up the paper towel, and sometimes I can get some kind of long blooms. Kind of flitting in and out over here, like it. Okay, and if you get a little too dark, just put a little bit of white on here. Dab. Dab. Look like lilacs. How wonderful. How wonderful. Okay, and actually just turn your paper towel around over here. You could actually even wet it a little bit if you wanted it even smoother. I wet just the very tip here. Okay, so I'm going to pick up some more of the yellow, and it does have some red in it. So this is going to come out a little bit orangey, which at least that's what I'm hoping it does. Okay, I like it. Okay, so see how we're starting to get some real floral design in here. See those little flowers? They're actually a little bit more muted in the handout, but I have to say, I'm liking what we're getting here. Okay, so I did the yellow first, and I dipped a little bit in the red. So we're getting a little bit of orange here. And again, where we kind of with the end of the brush here. So there's actually even some stem looking type things. Okay, you can switch back to your Q-tip if you need really more control here. And even though there are not blue flowers that I can see in this hand, I'm going to put some in because I can. There's some little blue flowers in here. Okay, nice little powdery blue flowers going down the hill here. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more yellow over here. It really is it's really a fun part here. Pink, orange. There's a lot of different colors. A lot of different colors in here. And again, it doesn't seem to be a wrong way to do this. I'm going to say, just have a good time here. Okay. Oops, I stick my hand on it. Maybe don't go as far as sticking your hand in there. Okay, so I'm going to put some red flowers going on over here. And I'm going to dip into the white, and that's going to make my red flowers pinky, pinky, pinky. Okay, and I'm liking my purple flowers here, so I'm going to use the Q-tip. The Q-tip, and if you press harder on the Q-tip, you actually get a little bit of a middle. Okay, let's give us a little bit more over here. Okay, so actually, Q-tip, that fuzzy side of the Q-tip here, it's quite nice. Quite the nice. Okay, going with my red here. All right, so even though we put quite a bit of white here, again, it was just kind of to prime the canvas so that we don't need like 10 zillion coats of something here. We can cover because the background is a little lighter. Okay, so here's a little bit more purple here. I really like all of this in here, so I'm not going to do too much more in there. What do I want to do? Not too much. Okay, so maybe just bring this purple down just a little bit more here. I have a little white dot there. So I turned it into a little purple flower. Like I said, not too many ways to really mess this up, which is my kind of painting. Okay, so look what we got down here. This whole side looks kind of really cool. So I think I need a little bit more work here. And so look at your picture and decide where you need a little work. I'm not crazy about how I do this red. So I'm gonna give myself some fresh red here. And I'm gonna use a clean Q-tip. Gonna dip into my red like this. And I'm going to just kind of touch here because I absolutely liked it until it dried a little bit. Then I was like, I'm not sure now. Okay, so I'm going to redo some of that little red area. And I think I'm going to do a little bit more somewhere here. Cool. I like the red on this really dark green area down here. So maybe I'll carry it through. Put some more over here. Cool. And let's get this over here. And I think I'm going to pick up some yellow and mix it in with this red. Okay, and when you mix it in with the red, you end up with a little bit of orangey kind of color here, which is not a bad thing. Okay, a little bit more yellow. So we end up with this orangey area here. Kind of cool, kind of cool. Okay, I'm going to switch back to this paper towel, and I'm dipping in the red because I'm thinking I want really nice color down here. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the white. So I'm really ending up with pink. Okay, I have a nice pinky area there. Okay, so I'm just going to not dab it with that. Okay, so I want to break some of this up a little bit because it's kind of a big area. So let's do that. Okay, I'm going to, oh, I have my orange here. I bet that would be pretty. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna grab my brush, just pick up some of this because I'm not crazy about how much I put on there. Okay, I'm gonna bring some up here because it's really pink now. That's better. That's a little better. I have some stems over here, so I'm going to add them to my stems, which is kind of cool. Okay. Then take a little bit of green here. So pretty much what I'm doing here is a little bit of repair work because I think I made that area too much color. So I added just a little bit of green at the base to break it up. And now I'm liking it a lot better. Okay, so here I think take a look at your picture. Okay, a little bit of yellow over here. Brush the water. Move your water here. Look. I think this was very cool, very fun, and actually did not take whole bunches of time. I thought with all this dotting going on in the bottom, that this is going to take a good 3 hours. But I want to say I'm probably at the 2 hour mark or a little bit over 2 hours. So I'm thinking this top is pretty dry now. So what I had said to you earlier is that you could go ahead and add some highlights to some of those clouds if you wanted to. So now it would be a great time to do that if you wanted to. So I think I could add a bit here. It looks like this is lighter here. Okay, so add that right there. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more in there. I see. This is a little connected, a little bit more connected here, right here. Okay, let's get this a little bit more highlight in through here, through here. Okay, and if you are like super happy with your sky the way that it was, absolutely leave it be. Okay, one of the things that students and myself, I won't exclude myself, can do is overwork a picture. Okay, you don't want to overwork your picture. Okay, so this one, don't overwork your picture. Okay. And the clouds in this picture, really, really unique clouds. Some of the cloud cover in through here is really, really, really light, and some of it has a great deal of white to it. But a lot of it has a very smoky value, smoky value to it. So again, if you're happy with your clouds and whatnot, leave them be, leave them alone, leave them alone, let them go home. Okay. So the tops of this clouds are really quite messy almost. So I'm gonna mess mine up a little bit more. Okay, I can. Okay, so at that, I think that I will leave that be because I do like it, right? So here is our picture. When it dries, don't forget to sign it. It's your masterpiece, okay? So let me come back over here and give you my usual end of the end of the tutorial spiel, okay? This was our piece that we were using to work from. See, stand back, Jim. Okay, so this is what we have, all right? So I'm seeing a little bit lighter down in through here. You could absolutely go darker with that. I have to say, someone is not going to look at this handout and do a step-by-step comparison. Okay, so if they look at this picture and they go, gee, I kind of like that. Don't say, well, gee, it doesn't quite look. Say, thank you. Say, thank you. I had a blast doing it. Okay. And this is, you can say this is what inspired me. You don't have to show them at all. Okay. This looks very cool to me. I'm liking it. I'm liking all the colors. Right. So again, we want to thank Bethany Loveless at the Drake Council on Aging for coming up with the tutorial ideas to begin with and allowing us to share the GHAA, which is Greater Havel Art Association, and you can learn more about those awesome people at ghaa.art, batvinc.org, okay, to learn more about Billerica Access TV and our very own wonderful, wonderful Drake Access TV, okay, and all these tutorials are made possible by grants from the Friends of the Drake Elderly, the Drake Council on Aging, the Drake Cultural Council, and if I didn't say it right, but there are people who care about you and who are making these tutorials possible and available Okay, so, and like I said, they're willing to share. They're good people. They care about you. The center is not open yet for events like fun and paint and art class and some other things that they were doing there. But the staff is in the building. Okay, and if you need something, call them and say, "Yo, I need a ride," or I need some assistance with something or whatever it might be. If they cannot help you, they will find out who can, and they will make sure that you get the help that you need. These are people that care. Okay. So, and I care. All right. Jonissa at Comcast.net is me. JOAN is in Nancy. IS is in Stephen A at Comcast.net. All right. Or call me and say, so what colors did you use for that? How did you get that on there? And, you know, if you want to talk about repurposing canvases, 978-807-7608. If I do not answer you, leave me a message and say, oh, I have some questions about the tutorial, or you can say, I have a question about the art, whatever you have a question about, just call me. And if I do not answer, leave me a time, a day and a time when it's good to get back to you. All right. So, and I will do that. And the other cool thing is that once you finish your picture, take a picture of it with your phone and do an attachment to that number 978-807-7608 and let me see what you are doing. So before I say goodbye, hi Trudy, and I hope that your leg is doing better. Okay, and I want to see pictures. I want to see people's pictures. And Jane, hello Jane. And I did talk to Jane on the phone, and that was extremely cool. Bill, I don't know your last name, honey, but we miss you for sure. So send me some pictures. Send me what you're doing. Okay. All right, my darlings. Until next time, have a blast. Do your artwork. And if you need anything, call the center, Dracut Council on Aging on Mammoth Street in Dracut. Bye for now. Enjoy the good weather while it's here.